was good.
I know.
I'm Oliver the Ricketts.
I am still just Brittany.
What movie are we seeing, pup?
We are seeing The Spy Who Dumped Me with Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon.
I'm not one of those people that likes to write a movie off before I see it. This could go either way for me. I could see a lot of things that I wouldn't like if it goes a certain way, but I could also see it just being a really dumb, like, fun time.
Right, I'm really
fine with
hoping
me.
it's not a Ghostbusters type situation.
I like Kate McKinnon a lot. I don't really get to see her in a lot because I don't watch SNL. The last time that I saw her was in Ghostbusters, and that was trash. And I like Mila Kunis too. I don't know
Mila
when
Kunis also.
I don't know when it changed from Mila Kunis being really hot to Mila Kunis kind of playing like mom roles.
Well, I guess maybe she became a mom. I mean, she could be hot as a mom, but yeah, I don't know. For some reason, she doesn't look that hot anymore. I remember, like, when
Right.
she was in Ted, I was like, ooh, yeah, she looks really freaking hot. Or, like, Friends with Benefits.
That's what I can put down. Usually I could drop a little more knowledge about a movie than that, but
Yeah, there's not really much else to say. We've seen a bunch of previews for it, and they're really marketing it really hard, so we're going to go see it then, since we don't really have much else to say, considering the fact that we haven't seen it yet. We're back.
wow. I didn't have very high expectations, but this did pretty much all the things that I was afraid it was going to do.
Yeah. I didn't absolutely hate it, but I wasn't really blown away by it.
I didn't hate it when it started, and I would say that even for the first hour, I was letting it slide and saying, all right, it's, you know, dumb fun. I don't think it's particularly funny. The longer that it went on, the less I liked this movie.
Okay.
Because it kept saying, okay, we're done, we're gonna wrap up, and then, oh, but what about this happens? And then, oh, okay, here, look, now this, who is this guy, and what is this guy doing, and he's the bad guy now, and you're the bad guy now, and it's, you pitched me a comedy. If you wanted to be a spy thriller, then be a spy thriller. There's nothing wrong with that. Be a spy thriller starring Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon. I would have probably had much more fun with that if I wasn't walking in expecting a comedy and to laugh. And that's my big issue with a lot of the humor in this, is it seems very misplaced to me. 1 minute I'm watching innocent person XYZ gets gunned down. You know, I'm seeing all this really, like, gory stuff going on, and then we're making shit jokes and, like, vagina jokes. Kate McKinnon's being goofy, and it's funny to watch her be, you know, funny. Like, you don't grasp what's going on here.
Right. Like, everything was basically a joke and or a performance to her character.
If they had set them up to be a little lighter, it would have been, but even in the music, it was like, I'm supposed to feel tense here, and I know that.
This movie suffered, I think, from the same thing that The Hitman's Bodyguard had, that movie with Ryan Reynolds. These people can be funny. They've done serious movies, but they are funny.
Right.
They're pitching this movie to you that it's a comedy. Keep having these weird tonal shifts, and they can't decide whether or not it's an action movie or whether it's a comedy. And I guess, like, that's maybe narrow-minded to, like, have to put it in a box.
Right.
But, like, when you're watching a movie and you only have 2 hours to sell me on what it is that I'm supposed to be understanding and enjoying here, I need to be able to put that in that, okay, I'm laughing because this is a comedy.
Unless you're doing one or both of these things exceptionally well. Movies that can do both usually are not half-assing both things.
Right.
And I think of things like Hot Fuzz is a really, really funny movie, and it's a really, really good action movie. It's a movie that whole ass is two things. This is the end. Really, really funny movie. Really, really good apocalypse movie. Whole assing two things. Or you could go the other route and you could just be a really good comedy and nobody would really care that the action was
subpar.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you could be a really good action movie and nobody would really care that the comedy was
This movie was like, it had an identity crisis. We didn't know what we were supposed to be watching.
And every time it wanted to, like, commit to the action, which I think was what it started to lean towards at the end, you had a big show-stopping scene of, like, this guy comes in and he shits. And that's the joke. And then a lot of, like, very forced, like, okay, now feel this way because we're talking about this.
Right.
But this hasn't really been established as a plot point.
Right. Not to mention the plot was a little weak to begin with. Your overall final thought.
If it had stuck to doing one thing, or even if it had dumbed down the plot a little bit because the plot wasn't strong and then they kept adding things, I think if you had just been a much lighter movie, I probably would be much more lenient on it. But you want to be a serious movie, I'm going to take you seriously. That was like a D+ for me. I mean, there's maybe a couple saving graces of it that stop it from being an F, and I'm going to forget that I saw this movie.
Definitely some parts of it where I chuckled. I wouldn't say I full on laughed.
Right.
At any point in time. I mean, there were two women next to me who would not stop fucking laughing. On the more serious side of how I felt about it, you know, there were definitely parts where I laughed just because I was laughing at almost like the gag reel comedy that was like happening at some certain points in time. Like, I almost felt like they just told Kate McKinnon just keep going, which I'm sure they did because she's a comedian. I'm sure they said just go, say what you want to say, and we'll just keep rolling and, you know, stop when you want to stop.
Well, because the thing is, for Kate McKinnon, great, you said something funny and you did the thing that I like you for. For the movie, for you to do that is so lazy and so, like, out of place. Like, I'm not even going to come up with a joke for you.
I didn't even write this. We're just going to listen to her speak. Too much over-the-top humor, these completely ridiculous and unrealistic things. Obviously, it's unrealistic. I understand that. I'm not saying it should have been more realistic because it would have just been boring, but it was completely unrealistic. So much so that you're just like, well, why are we here? How did we even get here? Because it just doesn't make sense. We're just jumping around. If I were to give it a grade, I would maybe give it a C. Yeah, a C, I suppose. Very middle ground for me. Like I said, I laughed at some parts of it. I did want to like it. I'm the one that wanted to see this movie tonight. Wish that I had a little more comedy, a little less serious, and like a little more comedy that was actually well thought out and meant to be in the movie, not just, hey, Kate McKinnon, just do stand-up stuff.
Anybody can pay somebody to be funny for you. Yeah, spoilers real quick. This movie does the thing that I always complain about with, you know, we want to be in this age with these female comedies where everybody's, you know, very like equal and we can hold everybody up the same.
I mean, really fucking beat you over the head with it. You either are a feminist and you stand by that, that's fine, or like you're not and you're making fun of people who are feminists. Because that's what it really felt like. It really did feel like they were just making fun of and jabbing at people who consider themselves to be feminists or really like want female empowerment, because I felt like everything that they were trying to say was a good thing ended up just being like a negative thing. She even said herself, she's like, oh, I've circled all the way around from having so much respect to you for that now I'm objectifying you. It's like, you're saying that about yourself, and you're supposed to be the feminist, you're supposed to be the one all for female empowerment, but you're saying that you are willingly and knowingly objectifying a woman because she's in a position of power and because she doesn't look like a trash bag.
Big crazy concept. Women can just be in movies and be the star.
And they can just be funny.
It doesn't need to be a statement like, look at these women are doing it right, and, you know, they could just be there. And I would buy into it and say, yeah, that was really good. Everybody wants to be the one to make a statement. Nobody wants to be the one to show that the statement is working. You do this other thing that I hate. You don't have a joke, so you just go, oh my goodness, I have a vagina. Well, you should be able to tell me what's funny about the joke. And if the joke is she has a vagina, okay. You know, that's the same as like, he's gay and that's funny. It's like, that's not funny unless you tell me what's funny about this particular person being gay.
You know, another thing, like Kate McKinnon's character kept saying that all these people were into her and in love with her and obsessed with her. And I get that was like part of her character's shtick. Are you only interesting because you think that all these people want to get with you? Yeah. Because if that's what being a woman is all about, then I don't friggin' know, man.
And then you say, like, we're supposed to be on Kate McKinnon and Mila Kunis' team, but they're so bumbling in the movie, and they're so like,
I'm running away, and there's explosions, and
Right, and it's like, it's the same thing with every single one of these fish out of water movies, too. Like, go back to the original Thor. Like, how am I supposed to be on your side when you're such a bumbling idiot? You know, and all of these movies like to beat you over the head with that, where, oh, look, here's a situation and you're used to seeing a competent person handle it. Now they're going to come in here and they're going to scream about it, and they'll bump into something and it'll fucking work out. Well, I don't know.
They're getting tortured, and, you know, they're going to start talking about their best friends, and, you know, then villain's best friend is a balance beam. Oh! Oh, there was a jockstrap in my mouth and everything! It really wasn't great. I wouldn't recommend anybody really see it.
That's that.
That was our ride home review for The Spy Who Dumped Me.
I'm going to go home and forget that it ever happened.
Good night.